Hi friends, it's Julie Golding Page, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in St. Stephen, New Brunswick, Canada, along the tidal Scudig or St. Croix River, the traditional territory of the Passamaquoddy, and I'm grateful that they share this beautiful place with us. Today I have a simple stamping card for you using some new sale items that are now available in the Last Chance section, and also the Storybook Friends stamp set and dies. So let's get right to our project and I'll show you how it looks. All right, just get my camera situated here. Okay, so here's what we've got for today. Sorry for that shine there. It's just I have a light that's focused here and it's shining off the shiny surface there. But in any case, what we have here is our project for today. So it's a cute little project. It's pretty simple because the stamping is very easy, and then we'll put all the rest of the items together as well. And we'll get started with that right away. So we're going to be using for our ink Cherry Cobbler, and I have Storybook Friends stamp set. Now look at this one. This has been a big hit with people. I think because these are all really super cute little characters. You can color them, you can just stamp their outline, you can do whatever you'd like that way. And they've got a number of different sentiments. So this one's cute, Somebody Loves You. This one's for Easter. This one's for a new baby, spring, and then just general ones like thank you and hello friends. So this is a really versatile set if you're looking for one that's good for many occasions. And so we'll be using that. And today we won't actually be using the dies, but I wanted to show them to you. So these will cut out all of those little characters, which is really nice. And then you have these other ones. So look at this. You've got these ornate frames, which are really, really nice to use as well. So those are the dies, and you can buy them together as the dies and the stamp set. If you buy them as a bundle, it is actually 10% less. So you do get a discount there. All right, so let's go right ahead with it. Oh, hi, Kathy. I hope you like the project today. So here we go. Let's do our stamping first. And I'm just going to grab my little piece here. So I cut this piece using the perennial postage dies. And those are one of my favorite die sets that are out right now because they are so versatile as well. And I'll be using a piece cut with perennial postage dies later in our card too. So this is just a little tag cut from Basic Beige. I would really like to know, do you use Basic Beige very much? I find I don't really. Beige is not actually one of my favorite colors, but it was just the right thing for this card. And let's use Easter Greetings. So let's do that one. I find it's really interesting. Sometimes colors that I think are my favorites, I don't use nearly as much as some of the ones that aren't really my favorites, but I don't like to write any of them off because sometimes even a color I don't really like is just the thing you need for a certain project to make the whole thing hang together. So I kind of try to keep an open mind about colors, even if it's not my favorite. I do like to have the full range of colors so that I can use them if I need them. So there's our Easter greetings. That is the only bit of stamping that we're going to do today. So again, that was Cherry Cobbler. It's really nice to use Cherry Cobbler in the middle of the year instead of just at Christmas time when I find I use it the most. So that was good. And I'm just going to use my Simply Chamois here. Just going to stamp right into it there and get the ink off my stamp. And I'm going to show you this because I used a red ink. I don't know if you can tell there. Let me see if I got something white behind it. Can you see that faint kind of reddish pink tint that is on my stamp there? What that is actually is not something that's going to damage how you use your stamp in the future. You can actually use it in yellow ink. You could use it on green ink. That slightly pink hue from our Cherry Cobbler ink just gets inside the photopolymer stamp and it doesn't come out. So you'll see it even more strongly once I put it here. So any ink that's got any red in it, so any pinks, reds, or purples, that are made with some kind of red will actually stain your photopolymer stamps, but it does not affect their performance in any way. So I just wanted to let you know that. It won't come off once you wash your stamp after you've used it. It will not come off in another color, and you can use it for any color you want. It's just a character of red as an ink, as a dye. So don't worry too much about that. All right, so let's put together the rest of the card here. So we've got our stamping done. I'm going to use a card base that is 8.5 by 5.5 inches. And this is in Old Olive. And I'm just pulling the colors right out of our decorative paper here. And I'll show you more about that as we go on. So there's our card base. Let's put our little sentiment on there so we don't lose it. And then I have all of these other pieces to use. So I'm going to show you the fun stuff first. So this is a piece that is cut with the perennial postage dies. And you can see it gives it a very nice decorative kind of postage stamp look on the outside. And this is the Storybook Friends paper. I might have that title a little wrong. Let me just double check what it's called. Storybook Moments paper, sorry. It's slightly different than the Storybook Friends stamp set that coordinates with it. So, Storybook Moments paper. So there's one of them, and I'm going to show you some of the other patterns because these are really, really nice, and I think you'll like them. So here's what we've got. So we've got this one that has the strawberries on. Oh, hi, Ruby. Glad you could join today. And then on the other side, oops, it's got all these little characters. And these can all be cut out as well, and you can use them on your projects. So really, really cute. There's also this one that has a whole bunch of cards. So you can cut each one of these out, or you can use the other side if you prefer. And let me see what other patterns I can find here. I've got some other ones to show you as well. Here's another one. So this has got slightly smaller characters, so you could cut those out separately or just use them as a background paper. Really cute. And then you've got this beautiful paper on the back. And so there's different patterns that are there, and you also get a whole set of die cuts. So let me show you the die cuts because those are pretty spectacular. Oh, I should show you this one other pattern too. I like this one. Look at that. Isn't that cute? So it's got all these gardening implements on one side and then kind of a monochromatic one on the other side. And then it comes with a couple of sheets of die cuts. Look at all the die cuts. So all you need to do is just punch them out. And I'm going to use some of those later in our card to make it super easy. And that's why we're only doing just a little stamping, because we're going to use the die cuts. So I'm going to take my stamp and seal. Oh, and I should show you the back side of this one too, because it's got all these lovely vegetables on there. So that's on the other side of these little houses. So that's really nice. It's one of those papers that it's kind of hard to decide which side of the paper to use because they're all so nice. So I'm going to put that on a cherry cobbler piece of cardstock, which is just slightly larger than my perennial postage there, cutout that I made. And then we're going to put it on another panel, which is basic beige. So we're just going to try to keep drawing together all the colors that we use in our card by making different elements out of those different colors. And we'll just keep using that set of colors over and over. So there we go. That's what we've got so far. And now we have the fun of putting together our little scene. So let's just put it on there so we kind of know what it's going to look like. And we have our die cuts. So I already cut some out of another sheet. So we're going to use this little bunny with the radish. I'll just put it up there so you can see it. We're going to use this for greenery. We have a little wheelbarrow as well. We have this tool to use in gardening. We have some radish together. We have these little plant pots that have different things growing in them. And I think that's all I need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. And we're actually going to pull out one more. I didn't use it on this card, but I thought it would be fun to use to show you some of these die cuts. Aren't they cute? I like this little goose here. That's really nice. And the little duckling and the duck. Very nice. We're going to cut out this one. So I'll show you. They just punch out. They're super easy. So you're just going to pull that right out. And simple as that, you've got a little fence. So we're going to use that fence as well. All right, so let's put together our little scene. And I kind of like to arrange things first before I glue anything down, just to make sure it's what I want. So let's put this little bit behind there. And maybe we'll put the plant pots down here on the bottom. And then we can have our wheelbarrow over here. Let's see, maybe we want the fence over a little more. Let's just see where we want the fence to go first. Yeah, that's pretty good, I think. And maybe I'll just leave this other greenery off. I don't think we need it if we have that fence in the background. That seems to be kind of an element that'll draw it all together there. Okay, so our fence. And then we've got our little trowel here. We're going to use that later. And before we can glue any of these on, we're going to prepare our little wheelbarrow. So you can see in my sample card here, the radish bunch is actually tucked into the wheelbarrow. So I'm going to show you what I did to make that. So I first dug out this little thing here, which is called a Stampin' Pierce mat. I checked and they are $7 a piece, so they're not really expensive at all. They come from Stampin' Up, and they're a pretty thick, foamy material. And so here's what I did. I just put my little wheelbarrow on. I took my paper snip scissors and opened them. And then I just really gently made a cut across the wheelbarrow into this mat, just to see how far it needed to go. Maybe a little bit more on this side. Let's just extend that a slight bit. And you can kind of do it to your taste, whatever you would like to do. And then we're going to slip those little radish in there, like this. And we're going to use a regular piece of tape on the back to just stick them in place. There, because that's a lot less fussy than using liquid glue or anything like that. So there we go. There's the bunch of radish right in there. And again, this was called a Stampin' Pierce mat, and it sells for about $7. So I think that's all we need the scissors for right now. So let's pull this back down and let's glue on our little fence here first. So I'm just going to put little glue bits across our fence. You just need some little dots on there. It doesn't need very much and it'll stick really nicely. This multi-purpose liquid glue that you get from Stampin' Up! Has a very fine tip on one end and a broad tip on the other. To be honest, I've never used the broad tip for anything. I always just use the fine tip because I find you need so little of this glue, you really don't need the other tip for anything. So we'll just put little teeny dots just to stick it on there. So that's our liquid glue. And we will put this on in the background. So something like that. Let's see if that works out with our wheelbarrow. Okay, it's a little crooked. We're going to move that down slightly. Now let's see if it works. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so now our little fence is on. So we are going to place our other pieces on this card. And this one, we're going to put Stampin' Dimensionals on the back, these little foam adhesive things. And I really like those. They're made to really strict standards, and so they're really high quality, and I have not had them dry out like many other kinds that I've used in the past. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue with my Stampin' Seal on the back of this one. And maybe put that sort of like this. Okay, then we're going to put little dimensionals on the back of this little bunny. And I picked the radish bunch to put in the wheelbarrow because the little bunny has a radish too. So I thought that would be good. All right, so let's put these little elements on. Then we'll know where everything's going to go. Okay, let's put that one there. And we'll take this wheelbarrow. So you could just choose whatever little elements you want on here. These are the ones I went with this time, but you don't have to follow what I did. Certainly there's lots of other options as well. All right, so I'll show you. See how cute that is with these little houses in the background, kind of cottagey. So that's kind of nice. And now we're going to use the jute trim. So I've asked earlier this week here on my Facebook page what people would like me to use. A type of ribbon that I showed, or, oh, this says terry tape. That's not what it is actually. Or if you wanted me to use this jute trim. So it's the 2023 to 2025 in color jute trim. And I'm actually missing one here. There should also be Moody Mauve. So this is Wild Wheat, Copper Clay, Boho Blue, Pebbled Path, and then there was Moody Mauve here, but I used all that one, so I don't have it anymore. But in any case, these are now part of the last chance items, and they're on sale. So do check the last chance items that just got updated this week on Tuesday. And I have a link right in this post that will take you directly there if you want to see what the new items are there. Okay. And Ruby says, my choice was this. Ah, great. So you get to see the one that you picked. Yeah. Yeah, so I always offer a choice on Monday or Tuesday of every week about what I'm going to use in my Facebook Live that week. And this was what I picked for this week because everybody voted for it. It won over the other ribbon that I had up. So what I did just there, so in case you didn't see that, was I used these mini glue dots. I put one on the back of my jute trim and used that to stick it to the back. All right, and we're just going to cut however much we need. That should be plenty on that side. And we're going to do the same thing over there. I prefer that rather than tying it on the back because you only use half as much, for one thing, because you don't have to stretch it all across the back. And also it doesn't make a big knot on the back. And I find that it just stays more secure if you actually glue it down than if you tie it. It stays in the place that you put it. So that's always a good thing. Okay, so I put that on. So let's use these dimensionals on the back. And I always like to put one at each of the four corners to keep those down and one in the middle. And the reason I put the one in the middle is that I like to mail a lot of my cards, and the machines in the postal system will press down on the cards. And they'll make them kind of dip in the middle if you don't have something to hold them up like that. So I always like to put one in the middle. All right, let's put that on there. Okay. And now we're going to take our tag here. We're going to put a couple of those dimensionals on the back of that as well. And then we'll put that on. Okay, so that'll be, let's see, maybe about there. That looks pretty good. Now we're going to take a double length of our jute trim here, which is in Wild Wheat. And we're just going to kind of loop it over on itself to make it double. I'm going to cut it there. So we don't need a lot, just a little. And then I'll cut the other end, and now I have two lengths of the same size. I'm going to slip that underneath here and simply tie it. That's all I'm going to do. Oops, let's get them the same length if we can there. So I'm just going to tie it once. And then you can move it around. So you can move it to the left, you can move it to the right, wherever you want it to be on your card. That looks pretty good. So that's where it is so far. And then we will put this little trowel. I'm not sure if that's the right name for that. If somebody is into gardening more than me, you might know the proper name if that's not it. So we're going to use a mini glue dot to stick that on. We're just going to put it right on there. And we're going to stick it on at the edge of our Easter greetings there. That looks good. And then we have one more thing just to finish the card off. See all these little shiny dots we have here? Those are actually the Glossy Dots assortment. So they come in Gorgeous Grape, Melon Mambo, Daffodil Delight, and Pool Party. And these are actually on sale too because they're retiring soon. So anything you see in the last chance items, which is my shopping link that's right in this post, that means that they are retiring as soon as they sell out. So they've just added a bunch of the new ones, and lots of them are discounted this past week. And so hop over there and you'll be able to see all of the different ones that are on sale. All right, so let's put these little dots on. So I'm going to put one here, and I'm going to put one up here on my Easter greetings, and I'll put one down here like this, and then let's put them over here like I did before as well. Okay, so we'll take this one, and maybe one over here like that. All right, and then that is it for our little card. So really simple, using all these lovely die cuts. So again, with the Storybook Moments paper, you get, I don't know if I said how many pages, but you get 10 pages of pattern paper, and it's patterned on both sides. And that's what I used here in the background, one of those many patterns. And then you get 2 pages of these lovely die cuts. So you get a whole bunch of different die cuts you can put together whatever way you want. So thank you very much for joining me today. If you don't already have a demonstrator, I'd be delighted to help you out. I can help anybody from across Canada. And I've got some links here that you can click through to if you want to know more about what I do. And feel free to send me a question anytime. I'm glad to help. All right, have a wonderfully crafty weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye for now.